And I talked to the lady and I'm like, hey, thank you so much for doing this. I know it's a pain in the butt. She says, oh, I don't care. Whatever. I'm here. I'm either here, I'm watching Netflix and doing whatever. So I might as well be here. You can just tell the pain and agony in her face. And I'm like, I just appreciate you being here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Get my stuff off, put it in the bag, keep it going. They do a pat on me, as they always do, because I think there's something suspicious happening in my groinal area, folks. There's nothing wrong with my groinal area. It's just a thing that happens from time to time. I'm used to it by now. They do the whole thing. Do I have your permission to? Yes, 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 whatever. Just pat me down. Just get it done. I need to get out of here. Grab my bag. Get to the gate. Per my time and what my phone says, the gate, it's about to board, so I'm about to miss my flight. But I make it to the gate. I get there, John and Daniel, and the whole corridor is filled with people, and the gate hasn't even opened yet. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Zero Dot Podcast. My name is Sam. This is John. This is Daniel. Here to remind you that when the chips are down, our resources are low, yet we are connected all as one. We are strongest than we ever have been. This is our place for solace, our place of recharging, our place to give ourselves the energy we need to keep going down into the trenches. And boys, it's been a week, hasn't it?
Oh, boys. Oh, yes, it has. Today, I would like to speak to the viewers. And I encourage you, just for one day, to be listeners. Don't look at this. Don't watch. Just look away. I have something in my eye, and I'm going to be like squinting, and I got a hood up, so I'm looking real Palpatine-y, which I don't think is like a cool thing. It sounds like teeny, like it'll be small.
I don't know. It's pretty cool, man.
Squinty.
You're rocking.
I'll start. Listen to the dark side, and we can do that up a little bit. But if you want to be a listener,
Emperor Palpatine returned.
Yeah, he's back. He just came back. He was bored. You know, one of those. So feel free to not look at my face today. Look at Sam. Look at Daniel. I'm pretty. We'll keep Daniel on the screen extra today because I'm gonna be. I'm trying to not squint, but it's a squinty day. Anyway, it's been a week.
I unfortunately don't have the budget nor the time to give you Palpatine lightning out of your hands. That's true. I wish, but
very sad.
Just know, if I did, you would have it. I want that for you.
Thank you.
I just can't give it to you. I'm so sorry.
To be fair, and Daniel's taking the bus on this one. He pitched it to me like, Sam, I really would like to enhance our special effects budget from being $0 to $1. $1 will give John Palpatine lasers and lightning and everything and all the whole thing. I'm like, nope, we can't. Sorry. I shut that down. So that's
if you haven't subscribed to our Patreon yet, for simply $3 a month, you can give one John Palpatine laser eyes every day. You'll do a real service to your community.
$3.99. We didn't need almost $4.
Oh, sorry about in price of inflation.
Inflation.
Palpatine eyes don't come cheap, my friend. Sorry, these are the rules.
No, it doesn't. But yeah, John, it has been a week, and I don't know if you got anything, but I'd love some good news if you have it for me.
Boy, so I've been having a rough week, which is unrelated to the squinty eyes, but it's true. And I was thinking my week is trash, and then I thought, no. This man's week is trash. And I read about this farmer. This is real. It sounds like I'm setting up a joke, and I'm not. I'm setting up a good thing, but it takes a second to get there. So you have to like 81 seconds or so. So there's this 80-year-old farmer, and he's in the UK. All of my stuff's from the UK. What a fascinating country. And he's just hanging out, doing farmer stuff. And this is true, and there are pictures if you need to see them. There were 200 tons of waste-like roofing material, plumbing fixtures, and construction cast-offs dumped onto his land. Just 200 tons of literal garbage, of trash thrown upon his land. It's upsetting because it's so much trash. It's like a train. It's a crazy amount. And if you said, well, I bet he went out there and picked it up with his farmer hands and his farmer tools, I would say, no, he literally couldn't. It is like a mile of trash. Like, it's just endless trash. And the government said, hey, that trash got to go. And he was like, why? And they were like, there's rules about having trash on your land. He's like, that's fair. Well, will you help me? And they said, no, but we will charge you $50,000 to get rid of it. And he said, but I'm a farmer and cannot do that. And they said, that's too bad. And then another guy came along who I should give credit to because he's a cool guy for doing this. Scroll. Oh, where's your name, sir? Archie was his name. He has a last name too, and I would love to say it. I'd feel better if I could. I'm gonna hear him. Hang on, Archie Ford. Archie Ford, a 31-year-old man who was a neighbor to the farmer, wanted to help, and he made a campaign on Just Giving, which is a lot like other fundraising sites that I've heard of before. GoFundMe comes to mind. And they made, with 2,000 donors, enough money to clear up all the trash. The community came through in a pinch. There's a weird problem here that I learned about when I was reading this article, that some people are like not wanting to pay the fees to get rid of the trash for their companies. So they're just hiring people to go throw it around, which is a shitty thing to do.
Privatize everything.
So icky. But I'm glad to hear that people came through for this guy in the clutch. And also, frankly, that there's awareness being made about this, because that guy got put in a brutal position. And it really does show that, like, when, you know, the chips are down, the best people you can have are the people around you. So an uplifting end to a very weird start of a story.
Sure. We need all that. So we've been able to clear out some of this trash, or what's the progress? What's the take? Is it all gone? Like,
It's gone.
It's gone. Wow.
It's gone.
That's kind of amazing.
It is. I was really impressed. They got 2,000 people chipped in. And it's gone. And if you look at the pictures, and we can link the webpage in the description, it's on the goodnewsnetwork.org. It is like literal fields of just pallets and wood and just garbage. It's more garbage than like you will believe. It is a crazy amount of garbage.
For my listeners who, I want to describe this to you. Like it not only is it long, its breadth all across this road right before you get to some trees and some road. It is deep. It's not just a little line of garbage. It is very, very, very deep. I mean, I'm thinking you could shoot a film in this garbage and like make it look like a dystopian nightmare. That's how compelling that garbage is. It's pretty gnarly and insane. And after 2,000 people, and how many man hours? Do we know how long it took them?
No, I don't have it written down, but it obviously would have taken a shitload of time.
For real? Wow.
And the farmer's really picturesque too. He looks exactly like you want a cool farmer to look. He's at the bottom.
Nice. And what's his name one more time?
Will Dickinson was the farmer, and Archie. I only have Archie highlighted. Archie Ford was the neighboring
Will Dickinson,
individual who
Archie Ford, folks. I'm trademarking it right now. Not really a trademark, but 0 dot people of the week. I'm saying that's some 0 dot stuff right there, and we appreciate that.
A big fan. Way to go, Archie.
Big fan. Excellent. Well, John, that makes me feel good. It doesn't make me feel good that it had to be privatized. It doesn't make you feel good that like our governments or whatever have you aren't doing more about this. But you know what? Groundswell, people caring about their community, wanting to do the right thing, regardless if it costs us money, time, and effort. That always makes me feel good.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes the good stories that I have to share are admittedly challenging out of the gate, but like the one through line that I find myself coming back to is that when people work together, we win. Like, it's just pretty consistent. It's something that I'm very hopeful for in the future going forward, is that more people can get on the same teams. We can, like, you know, use our powers for good, as it were.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's some good stuff, and that makes me feel good. In fact, it makes me feel so good that I think maybe what I'm about to share, even though it's not super great right now, maybe this can help give us a through line in ways we can do a similar thing for folks. And folks, today I'm talking to you to my travelers out there, those that are going on the nice airwaves of the skies. If you've been traveling since February 14th into now, and who knows, maybe by the time this episode gets published, something miraculously gets changed. But since February 14th, TSA, and in case you don't know what that means, TSA is Transportation Security Administration. You know, the people that you have to scurry off and put your stuff in the bins, and they scan everything, and you literally cannot get to your flight unless they securely scan you. They have been unpaid since February 14th. Not paid at all, thanks to a government shutdown here in the United States affecting them specifically. Now, what does this mean for you? Well, there's 61,000 plus employees that work in TSA, which means that every person that has been working in TSA since February 14th has been doing so with no money, no pay, no nothing. And literally this week was their first big paycheck they were supposed to get, and they have not received a paycheck. And that's really awful. That's really upsetting. I can tell you this because I'm going to talk a little bit more when we talk about our main topic. Literally a couple days ago, I was in Minneapolis, and I was told that over 300 people in TSA had called out that day because why would they work if they're not getting paid, right? So this is awful. And I'm here to say that it really sucks that we, in the Americas especially, have to do something about this. But I think there's a few things we can do. So first of all, if you're thinking, hey, if these TSA workers aren't getting any money, can I donate any money to them? Turns out you can't because it gets into weird federal government, sanctions and legalities and things you can't do. But if you wanted to give your TSA agent some money, what you can do and what people have been reporting they've been doing when they have to travel in the great seas of our skies, they've been giving gift cards and giving it to the supervisor to distribute to all the team members. So if you have it in your spoons to give a gift card to TSA agents, remember when you're in that long line, those people are working right now for no pay. And we'd like to believe they're going to get back paid, but we don't know that yet because of reasons. It's pretty awful.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I get paid at my current job once a month. And as long as that paycheck comes in, I'm okay. I can keep paying my bills and I'm fine. And just to imagine that paycheck not coming in is sort of distressing because I wouldn't have the ability to, be okay. So, golly.
Yeah, it is not only rough. I did talk to one TSA representative this week who I'm like, hey, thank you so much for work. And I know this is really rough. And says, oh, it's so cool. We're taking bets with each other how long this is going to last. We think it's going to be about June. And I'm like, oh, that is awful. That is atrocious. And I also want to remind us all of something we've talked about before, but let me just say it one more time. You can also bug your representative. If you are in the United States, there's a website, house.gov, representatives, find your representative. We'll drop the link in the description for our producer, Daniel, to put in the description of our video here. But you can also do that by literally bugging them because there's a bill that's being parlayed right now. It's not being signed, and that's what's stopping everything right now. So be sure. Find who your representative is, go down that channel, bug them, and see what you can do to see if we can get something moving forward. Because again, my heart goes out to these folks who are literally doing this for free. And here's a crazy thing, John, going back to that privatized sector, the airlines aren't doing anything about this. And yet I would think they'd want to, because if no one can get through TSA, no one's flying. Nobody's flying.
2026 is a year of dealing with problems that are wildly short-sighted. like I don't know how these are the challenges that we have, and yet they very much are.
I think we agreed, John, when 2026 happened, that we're like, well, this is definitely going to be one of the years. We can feel it. We just could never have predicted what we've been facing. I know I couldn't have. So this definitely was not on my bingo card for 2026.
When we got to the murder hornets, I was like, that's it. Like, that's the dumbest one. There's not going to be a dumber one than that. And I was so wrong. I was so regretfully wrong.
We think this is the ceiling, and nope.
If this might be some United States thing that I'm unaware of, please, if you would, elaborate upon murder hornets.
Oh, they were a footnote only in the 2020 escapades. It was about July. Remember how in 2020 every single thing went wrong? I remember March 14th. The fun fact is a day ago as of recording of this. 2020, I was at my cousin's play. He was doing Big Fish, and they were like, all right, no more anything. No more anything. Go home, and you have to be from home. And then my job was like, we don't really know what we're going to do now. And everybody, kind of scrambling. And then Animal Crossing came out for Switch, which was pretty nice. That just garbage. And then in July, I remember they were like, there's now been an outbreak of what we're calling murder hornets. They're oversized hornets that are more likely to kill you with fatal stings. And it was just sort of like, okay, the script writers really just fucking are throwing it in here now. Like, this is... So yeah, no, if you... I'll give that a quick...
this was in 2021, so it was the Asian giant hornet, which was never meant... It was never meant to migrate to the United States, but it did somehow because of reasons.
Somehow, murder hornets returned.
Somehow. And they're called murder hornets because, as John just said, they can actually kill you. They don't just like sting you and it hurts. Like, they can kill you. And so it was a whole big scare and an epidemic on that.
So I thought it was a 2026 thing, but this was in fact a 2021 thing.
No.
Yeah, because...
But I will say there are still murder hornets here in the United States. We have not gotten them all. We've not culled them. They exist now. They're in our ecosystem. It's great.
Also, if you haven't seen one and you aren't a person who has like phobic stuff with these kind of things, they are worth a quick Google. They're like as big as my hand, and I am a 6'1" man. They're humongous.
As someone who loves creepy crawlies, yes.
We literally have a story from
cool.
November 2025, actually. Someone in Idaho died from it. It can happen.
Just to put it out there. big insects, bugs, stuff, that's super cool in terms of looks cool, interesting, fascinating.
Yeah.
Not the people dying thing.
Yeah.
Just to put that out there in case you thought that I was just like, oh, infestation of murder hornets killing people.
Yeah.
Cool. No.
Yeah, we're actually going to clip this segment right here and actually misinterpret it so that way people can comment on it and give us more engagement. So that way people think Daniel really is pro murder hornets killing us.
That's the way it works. Turns out I sent them. I sent them over there.
Are we commentary? Are we satire? Are we comedy? We will not classify ourselves either way.
Imagine being held to one genre like some weak show for babies. Couldn't be me.
Yeah. Fun fact for our Zero Dot listeners and viewers. The way we classified our business is we are an entertainment company. Because once you go down the path of like broadcasting, news broadcasting, you have a totally different clearance of like a bunch of things you have to go through. We share information we know, but at the end of the day, we're entertainment, but we are here to help you kind of live a better life whatever way we can.
Additional fun fact for our viewing and or listening public. When you register your podcast on some services, they ask you what genre you are, and there are so many fun answers to this question, including culture.
Just culture.
Just all of it. We just do culture here.
Like, all of culture.
What about? Oh, just culture. Like the thing in general. Does that make sense to you? No. No, it doesn't. It just, what a choice. What an absolute choice.
What would be a podcast not about culture? Like if we said, no, we're not doing culture. What's that?
It would be just reading facts.
Yeah.
Daniel's like, I'm actually, I don't know what that means.
Boats are on water.
Sometimes they're not, though.
That's true.
Mm.
Found a hole in my cultural podcast.
Yeah.
Now, we do need to call it the fact that when John said there's podcasts about culture, there are some people Googling that right now because they think that means, oh, men and women of culture.
Well, yeah, no, it's not that.
You know that person. You know that person. Yeah, that's not what
that
culture means in this context, but that would be funny.
I see.
That'd be sweet. I wish it was that.
You are also a person of culture.
I truly do wish it was that. We are not that fortunate.
Do you remember when we were setting everything up and we marked ourselves as like adult content 18 plus and stuff because we were talking about like grown up concepts and all this kind of stuff, and we didn't really know, and like we were swearing and we didn't really know what that meant, and it turns out that we'd marked ourselves as like a porn podcast essentially, and they were just like, they put loads of restrictions on us because they thought that we were doing a podcast about the naughty things, when they did not explain that well whatsoever. So for anyone out there looking to make an adult but not adult form of a podcast, video, anything, don't check that box. Learn from our mistake.
Box. Yeah, what that box was. That was crazy.
For the record, this is a ton of fun, and if you're thinking about doing it, go for it. It's a blast. We recommend it. It is really stupid on the way in.
Yeah.
You're gonna deal with some shit that you're gonna be like, well, no, it is. It's that, and it's angry at you, and you have to deal with it now. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. But yeah,
what a ride.
So yeah, we've gotten some great news, John. Unfortunately, I have some sad news report on the travel front, but again, we as human beings, we can step up if we really want to. Again, let me just repeat one more time. We're seeing a lot of reports of people literally going to TSA and giving the supervisor a gift card, and that's distributed accordingly. That's legally what they can accept. And also, please talk to your House of Representatives contact. Please talk to your folks. I want these people to get paid. You want them to get paid because, nothing would be worse if the airlines were like, well, we're just not going to do TSA for a while and we just all go in, and you never know what you're walking into at that front. So that would be an adventure all around.
I'm sorry. It's just like, this is so stupid. Okay. Hey, I made a country. Cool. What do you want to do? Oh, not pay our airports. Yeah? Why is that your take? I just hate people, like I just don't want them to have money. Well, what are you going to do with it? Oh, I don't know. I just don't want them to have it. Like I think they shouldn't, is what I'm getting at. Does that make sense? They don't deserve it. I'm important. What is this? It's fine. I I love humans, man. I love
Yeah.
them. They're amazing. We get some weird shit. Like it's a bumpy ride sometimes. It's fine.
You'll
Humans
be
are
okay.
great, but the things that they think sometimes, and by they, I mean
Yeah.
us, like I'm part of humans, like the things we rationalize, like, no, this is okay. Yeah, they won't get paid for a little bit, but it's worth it. The ends justify the means. We say that a lot. We say that a lot.
Jeez Louise, those means. I'm sure we could have done better. I don't know how. I mean.
Yeah. So with that said, John and Daniel, I thought we'd take a little break from the script instead of talking about high and mighty concepts, but reinforce some concepts we've talked about before, especially being empathetic, as well as when all the chips are down, do you still keep moving, and what's the result of that? I thought I'd tell you a story about how my week has gone, and it's going to involve travel. But let me kind of set the stage for you all. And John knows a little bit about this. Dan knows a little bit about this, because at one point I was stranded in a little state called Minnesota for a little bit this week. That was a fun time. But let's set the stage. So for those of you that are listening in for the very first time, I'm what you might call a leadership consultant. I'm a public speaker, motivational speaker. I'm also a workshop facilitator of kinds. And I had, I wouldn't say a busy week this week, but, busier than most. And let me walk you through what the week was supposed to look like. So I was supposed to fly in to Rochester, Minnesota on Monday. Now, John knows this, but I'll let you all know that Rochester, Minnesota is a very, very tiny airport. And the reason I'm flying into Rochester on Monday is because that's only a 30-minute drive from where I need to be for my engagement. If I flew into Minneapolis Airport, that's about a 2-hour drive away from my engagement. And I'm going to work with these folks and talk to them about how to engage and retain their talent, retention, as well as talk about the best practice for coaching individuals and making sure they're going to be set up for success and be the next generation of leaders. That's my Tuesday class. Then Tuesday afternoon, about 6:30, I have a flight leaving Rochester, connecting in Chicago O'Hare, landing in Philadelphia late that evening, but that's okay. I'm going to sleep in Wednesday in the morning. I teach a virtual class in the afternoon from the comfort of my own home, the one that, if you're my viewer, you can see right now where that is. Talking about embracing change to some folks, again, I can't legally talk about, but folks that really need help with embracing change, with change management, all that good stuff. And then that afternoon, drive to New York for about 2 hours, grab a hotel, sleep a little bit, wake up, and teach a super highly condensed class of targeted selection. And targeted selection is basically the practice of hiring people. It's a practice of behavioral interviewing. It's a practice of finding the right people. This is a workshop that we usually do across 2 days, but this client decided that they wanted it all in 3 hours. And they wanted it twice. 1 3-hour session in the morning, 1 3-hour session in the afternoons. Super high fast, high paced. We blaze through a lot of content really quickly, but we make the magic happen. And then that night, I can drive home Thursday night and be home. That's how it was supposed to go, John and Daniel. But I bet you can guess how I'm setting the story up. That's not how it went.
It went even better?
Oh, yeah. So good. So good.
Hooray!
So, I get there on time on Monday. Perfectly fine. I'm able to get to my hotel room. We're fine. Tuesday, I teach the class. It goes well. By the way, the client that I talked to, a very rare thing in my world, John and Daniel, but the client is also a fellow gamer. So we talked about gaming for a while. Super fun. This client told me that they don't play any of the Resident Evil video games, but they do watch a streamer play all of the Resident Evil games. And they've really enjoyed watching the streamer play the latest Resident Evil Requiem, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the Patreon section of our episode, which, by the way, we have a Patreon if you're interested in that for $3.99. That's right. At the end of this episode, we have even more stuff we talk about. Nerdy stuff, weird stuff, reaction stuff. It's the show after the show. Check us out at zero.media/Patreon or Patreon/zero.media. I never get that right, but you can find us. Our links are in the description. $3.99. You get extended versions of our episodes. You get them earlier on Mondays and all other fun stuff. We'd love to have you join Club Zero Dot. If not, all good. Yeah. Also, if you join our episodes, you probably don't get the splurge about us, but it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's all right.
It's one combination of those words that you said.
Yeah, one combination.
If you just try various combinations of those words, you'll stumble upon the Patreon at some point.
Like a Resident Evil puzzle. Just keep brute forcing.
Yeah, you got to earn it. We don't want you to get it without putting some blood, sweat, and tears in. It wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah. So this client, we're talking about video games, and it's like, hey, I got to catch my flight. See you later. Bye. I go to Rochester Airport. Now, John, this airport is so small. There's only one flight leaving out that day. One. Just one. That's how small this airport is. But I get there. I go to the bar. I grab a quick beverage. And my flight's supposed to leave at 6:30, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And I don't have any indication that it's delayed yet, but we are definitely past the boarding period of which the flight would start boarding passengers. And finally, I get the notification that it's been delayed by 20 to 30 minutes, then 45 minutes, then an hour. Okay, the problem is I have a connection in Chicago O'Hare, so it's now making that connection incredibly tight. But per my data that I have on my phone, because everything's communicated via a phone device of some kind, I'll be able to make this connection ever so slightly. By the way, if you don't know, folks, on Tuesday of last week, there was a big storm coming through Chicago. Literally big, giant balls of hail. I'm using my hands right now to describe. Like, it is literally more than a softball size of hail. It was breaking people's windshields. It was ruining vehicles and houses. Like, it was a crazy storm. So
Was
our
this,
flight
was this hail larger or smaller than a murder hornet?
Ooh, yes, larger.
Larger than a murder hornet. Okay.
Larger than a murder hornet.
Sorry to cut you off. I
No.
felt like I needed to know,
You absolutely,
just so I could picture it in my head.
absolutely, 100%.
Murder hornet for scale or something.
Massive.
That's-
And so obviously it makes sense that the flight would get delayed of some capacity, and eventually get so delayed that I'm now absolutely going to miss my connection. And I get rebooked for a flight that's going to leave from Chicago at like 5 in the morning now. So I'm going to get to Chicago at midnight, and then I have to figure out what I'm doing for a couple hours, then leave from Chicago at 5 a.m. to arrive in Philadelphia. At this point, John and Daniel, I call my boss and I'm like, hey, I probably can make it to my home in like an hour before we have to do our virtual classroom session, but you might want to sub me out for this because we're at risk. And then it gets delayed again and again until the whole flight is canceled. I'm not going to get to Chicago O'Hare that night. Here's the problem, John and Daniel. This airport is so tiny. They can't rebook you for a later flight that morning because literally it's such a tiny flight that all the seats are always booked. There's nothing to triage you. It's just canceled. Just, sorry, go fuck yourself, they say. There are no rental cars because all the rental cars have been taken. That's how tiny this airport is. So I'm stranded in Rochester, and I need to find a way to get myself to a hub airport to get me where I need to be. And on top of that, they're holding on to my luggage. So I have to wait another hour for the person to give me my luggage until I can finally get out, leave the airport, etc. So it's like 9-ish o'clock at night. I grab a personal Uber from where I'm at to somewhere 8 miles away so I can grab dinner at a place that someone recommended to me. I'm only describing this part because you know how much that Uber costs to go 8 miles?
I shudder to think.
$80 just to go 8 miles. That's how rural we are in this ecosystem. But it's okay. I'm going to have a nice dinner. It was recommended to me that I have a nice dinner. I get into the Uber. The guy, I will save you the experience of that Uber driver. There's another one I'm going to talk about a little bit later. I get into that Uber. We get to the restaurant. It's closed. And it looks like it's been closed all day. Even though I checked online that they would be open, by the time I got there, they're closed. During that time, I reroute my flight, and I'm going to fly out of Minneapolis, but that's a 2-hour drive from where we are. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not getting dinner tonight. Uber driver, can I change my routing like right now in the app, and can you take me to Minneapolis? And he says, fuck no, I ain't doing that shit.
Whew.
Cool. Hey, there's a gas station across the street. Can you just drop me off there so I can figure out my stuff? Yeah, sure, whatever. Drops me off at the gas station. I go into the gas station, and there's nothing healthy at a gas station to eat. So I just grab a protein shake, and that's all. That's my entire dinner for the night. And the way this works, John and Daniel, is my Minneapolis flight leaves at 5 in the morning, take me into Philadelphia. It's a direct. Okay, cool. But I need an Uber. I need some way to get there. I see a bunch of rental car places where I'm at, but they're all closed at that point. They're not open. So I call an Uber. I get a nice lady to come by, maybe 10 minutes later. Very nice lady. Put my luggage into her car. And if you know anything about Uber, John and Daniel, when you select the Uber, you have two options. You say, what's your temperature you'd like it to be at? And I usually say, I don't care. Like, temperature's fine. And the last one says quiet preferred or not. And I always pick quiet preferred. That lets the driver know, like, hey, I'd like it to be a little quiet. I'd like it to be calm while I'm either checking emails, maybe taking a quick nap, that kind of thing. I always have that by default. I get into this Uber, John and Daniel, and the lady immediately starts blasting YouTube music from her phone. And it's incredibly loud. Now, it was nice music. It was Iranian music. I didn't understand the language, but it seemed like it was all Iranian. But not only that, John and Daniel, she sang along to all of the music for all 2 hours of the drive.
What a vibe. What a vibe.
Now, I want to tell you,
My.
because of what's happening in my particular country, America is now at war with Iran. I just felt like it would have been really inappropriate for me to tell her, hey, shut down your fucking Iranian music. That just felt really bad to me. And on top of that, she seemed like she was having such a good time that, if that's how she gets to enjoy this 2-hour ride, okay, let you sing along, blast this music the entire time and have a good time. Meanwhile, I'm like, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I get to the airport. She drops me off. And John knows about Minneapolis Airport. There's like 3 different levels. And in the second level, there's like a nice little seated area with cushioned lounges. And there's even plugs to plug in your laptop. And I think to myself, this isn't my first rodeo. I'll take a quick power nap, check a couple emails. I'll set up our podcast for the next day because it was supposed to be published that day. I'll do it right there from that lobby. Take a quick power nap, be up around 3, 4 in the morning, get ready for my engagement, my flight to get to Philadelphia. I literally get to the terminal. I start unpacking my laptop. I'm talking to Daniel actually about publishing the next week's episode. And I get the notification that my 5 a.m. flight has been canceled. The flight is now leaving at 2-ish o'clock.
My God.
So now I got to buy another Uber to get myself any hotel that'll take me somewhere for just a couple of hours of sleep. I make the choice to go to my favorite budget hotel. Not because they're a good hotel, they're awful, but because one of my favorite comedians has a fantastic story about this one place, and I just can't help the irony of it. And I went to La Quinta Inn. La Quinta Inn, that's LAQUINTA. And folks, if you're going to go to the La Quinta Inn near Minneapolis Airport, I have no problem saying this. It is one of the worst hotels you can possibly go to. It is so bad, the front door doesn't work. It literally says broken, not work. You have to go around the back. And when you go around the back, it's a very shady entrance. It's like a drug deal is about to happen when you go down that back entrance. I go in, I check in. The guy, he doesn't care that I'm there, but he's like, just make sure you check out by 11. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Right. I just need a couple hours of sleep, a shower, and we'll be good to go. I check into my hotel room. It takes me another hour to finish publishing our episode from the last week. That's about how long that process takes. Also, the Wi-Fi was atrocious, so I had to hotspot my phone to make it all work. It was a whole thing. I get about 5 hours of sleep, and it's okay. 5 hours of sleep. We're okay. I'm feeling all right. I'm going to go to the airport. What can I do in a couple hours? Hang out for a bit before my flight at 2 o'clock. It's important to remind you that I've had a communication with my boss to let her know, hey, this crazy thing happened. I'm really sorry. I can't make my Wednesday engagement, it looks like. It really seems like I can't make the engagement. She gets a sub for me. She's incredibly empathetic and apologetic. I'm like, it's okay. We'll make it work. And I start texting my wife and I say, hey, based on how this is all working out, I might not get home Wednesday. I might have to go right from Philadelphia and go to New York for my next engagement. Wouldn't that have been fun? That would have been great. So I get to the airport. The flight's been delayed to about 3:30 now. Okay, so I'm there at like 11 o'clock. I've got a bunch of time to kill. I answer a bunch of emails. I write some things to people. I actually send some notes to the other facilitator who took on my work that day to let her know what to do for her session so she's prepared. A bunch of stuff. I grab a nice donut. There's a donut shop. They have called a big ass cheesy jalapeno pretzel. I had to try. It was only okay, but I wanted to try it because it had a cool name. I wanted to try it. Flight gets delayed again and again, then gets canceled. Then I get rerouted to another flight that's leaving at around 6 o'clock. And if we do it right, I will probably land in Philadelphia around 11 o'clock, grab a rental car, drive to New York, and have maybe a couple hours of sleep before I got to do my engagement, if I'm lucky. We get on the plane, John and Daniel. We sit there for a long time. But then finally we start getting off. Oh, good, cool. We're getting on the tarmac. We're about to take off. We turn around.
No.
We go back to the terminal. We go back to the gate, and the captain says, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We actually have an issue with our fuel. We actually have too much fuel in the tank. So what we need to do is give back some of the fuel to the airport, and we need to sign some paperwork, regulatory paperwork, to make this happen because, we just need to wait for that paperwork to come through, and then we're approved to give back the fuel. I'm like, none of this makes any fucking sense. But okay, if you just get the fuel taken care of, I'll be happy. I'll be able to take off. It's important to note that I've gone through TSA a couple times now. And again, as I told you before in the beginning of the story, the TSA crew is skeleton. Like, it is a skeleton crew. So it takes close to an hour and 15 minutes, an hour 20, even when the line is incredibly small, just to get through TSA. It's a nightmare. This is going to be important a little bit later. So we wait and we wait and we wait and we wait and we wait. And suddenly there's that nervousness that happens in the cabin. Like everyone's like, what the hell is going on? No one's telling us anything. And the captain comes back on and says, okay, sir, so the good news is that we went ahead and regulated the flight. We got the paperwork, regulated the fuel. We got the paperwork approved to send back some of the fuel. So we're properly allocated for our flight. Again, makes no sense to me, John. I don't know what this means.
No.
Maybe it's a weight class thing. I couldn't tell you. But then he says, but the bad news is that because we've taken so long, we have to let go of the current flight attendant crew because of a regulatory union thing that we have. So we have to let go of them. And then we're now making a distress call now to see if we can get some emergency crew for us. We have about a 10-minute window. And if that doesn't happen, we're going to have to cancel the flight. So they open the gate. They let the attendants off. And we're just sitting there waiting. 10 minutes later, it says, yep, so based on regulations, no one's responded to our distress call. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to cancel this flight. And we deplaned from the plane.
That is fucking unreal.
To recap, I've been deplaned from the flight now. Before it was a gas regulation issue. Now it's a flight attendant issue. They have no flight attendants. The whole thing's canceled. I check with the attendant, the gate lady, and I'm like, is there any flights getting out to Philly? It says nothing through, and this is through American Airlines. Nothing. Not a zilch. I check all of their airports. Newark, JFK, LaGuardia, any in that area that can allow me to get a rental car and drive to my location. Nothing. I pull up my phone. There's one flight leaving Minneapolis to Philadelphia. It leaves at 9 o'clock at night. It's a Delta flight. And it's almost 7 o'clock now. We're now racing against time. So I call my travel agent. I say, hey, travel agent, this flight's canceled. Can you cancel it, refund it? Can we get me on that flight? Is there availability? She says, yep, absolutely. Okay, when am I going to get that ticket in? 15 minutes. Okay, cool. Hang that up. I talked to the gate lady. Okay, I need my luggage now, yesterday. Can you just give me the luggage here? No, you have to exit the entire airport, go to baggage claim, grab your baggage, go right back through TSA. Okay, can you make sure you do it really quickly, really fast? Yes, can you please describe your bag to me? You can't just like locate it based on, oh yeah, sure. Okay, here's what it looks like. Here's the bag. All that stuff. I race down. I exit the airport where it says no return, knowing I have to do all of this all over again.
Oh my God.
I go to baggage claim, and there's a few of us waiting. A few of us did the same thing. We picked up this Delta flight, and the baggage claim isn't turning on. The baggage claim isn't turning on. There's nothing coming through to baggage. We are waiting. We're waiting. I waited 45 minutes. I was about to leave without my bag. Finally, it comes through. My bag was the 7th bag to come through. I know because I was counting. I got my bag. I literally asked the guy, because at this point I'm disoriented, like, how do I get back to where I was? I need to get to this gate, whatever. And I get 3 different directions from 3 different guys at Minneapolis Airport. I won't name who they are because they seem like nice people, but they all gave me wrong directions till I finally found the right one, going up the right stairs, etc. We're fine. I have to go through TSA one more time. One more time. And this time, what's interesting is that, the line was very short. We're talking 30 people max, but it still took about an hour and 20 minutes to get through TSA because they only had one machine and like one guy doing 3 different jobs and one lady doing one job. And I talked to the lady and I'm like, hey, thank you so much for doing this. I know it's a pain in the butt. She says, oh, I don't care. Whatever. I'm here. I'm either here, I'm watching Netflix and doing whatever. So I might as well be here. You can just tell the pain and agony in her face. And I'm like, I just appreciate you being here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Get my stuff off, put in the bag, keep it going. They do a pat on me, as they always do, because I think there's something suspicious happening in my groinal area, folks. There's nothing wrong with my groinal area. It's just a thing that happens from time to time. I'm used to it by now. They do the whole thing. Do I have your permission to? Yes, whatever. Just pat me down. Just get it done. I need to get out of here. Grab my bag. Get to the gate. Per my time and what my phone says, the gate, it's about to board, so I'm about to miss my flight. But I make it to the gate. I get there, John and Daniel, and the whole corridor is filled with people, and the gate hasn't even opened yet. I get to the gate. I talk to the lady. Hi. What's the status of things? Oh, yeah, the plane hasn't come in yet. Oh, so it's delayed. Yes, but it's not showing that it's delayed. Yes. Okay. And they do that on purpose, by the way. They can only have so many delays in a day that they actually get hit pretty hard by something. Like they get fined or something, I think. They told me that. Like there's a whole game that a lot of airlines play where they'll delay certain flights, but they won't tell you this one delayed even though it actually is. Doesn't matter. Okay. Is it on its way? Yes. Apparently it's coming from San Jose del Cabo. So it's an international flight. And on top of that, because it's an international flight, John and Daniel, when it does arrive, it arrives about 40 minutes later. They deplane everyone, they clean it out, and then it has to go through extra regulatory passes because it's an international flight. It has to pass those passes. So it's going to take a bit of time. At this point in time, I call my boss. I say, here's the situation. By my calculation right now, if this plane goes off when they tell me it's going to go off, which I have no guarantee it will, if I get to Philadelphia Airport and I get the rental car and I get to my location, I'll make it 45 minutes before we start the workshop. I will have literally no sleep. And my boss is fantastic. She's laughing, but she's also like feeling bad for me. And she's like, I'd hate that you'd be in this situation. That has to be awful. She calls around. She gets someone who'd be willing to take the job on for me. Lovely lady, lovely facilitator. And she's like, oh, Sam, those would be a terrible situation. And my boss says, we'll call her name Janice. I won't name her real name, but Janice. Hey, Janice, would you be willing to take this job for Sam? She says, I'd be willing. I don't want to do it, but I'd be willing to do it because she has to prep in a very short period of time for a class that I've been prepping for months now and do it a very specific way. And it's a customized course and everything else. And my boss does this incredible thing where she says, well, it doesn't sound like you're thrilled to do this, so you don't have to do it. And she's like, thank God. And then she comes to me on the phone and says, Sam, you're within your right to cancel this gig right now. You're within your right to cancel. You've done a lot of hard work to try to get here. You can cancel if you'd like. And she asks me, how am I doing? And I said, honestly, I'm so tired I don't care anymore. But I thought about it and I thought about it. And I thought about it and I thought about it. And then I hung up the phone and I talked to my wife. And she reminds me as well, Sam, you don't have to do this. And I said, I think I have to. She says, no, you don't. Let's take the have to out of the equation. What do you want to do? And I said, I want to try to make this happen because I will not be able to live with myself if there was even one possibility I could have made it work, because there's going to be people traveling 3 hours to come to this event, and to tell them the thing's been canceled, that's a waste of their time. And that's not fair to them. So if I can make this happen, I want to make it happen because I feel like I have a moral responsibility to make it happen. My wife said, okay. And I call my boss. I'm like, we're going to make this happen. I will text you the moment the plane is taking off to let you know we are good to go for this. Okay. As you can imagine, it takes a long time. People deplane. We finally get on the plane. It takes us a while to take off, so we're already delayed there. But eventually, we start actually literally lifting off, and I start texting before I lose all signal. I text a quick message, taking off. We're set to go. Game on. Quick flight. It's maybe 2 hours and 12 minutes. I take maybe a 30-minute cat nap at some point during the time that I'm working. I land. We land at 1 a.m. I've got to get my baggage, grab the baggage. It takes a long time for the baggage to come. And then I've got to get to a rental car. Now, it's important for you to understand about this. In the Philadelphia airport ecosystem, every airport does rental cars differently, but the way Philadelphia does it is that there's a separate, totally different city block that is all just Philadelphia rental car places within this big block of area. And you have to get a shuttle to get there. So I grab the first shuttle that I can. It's for Avis. I have no problem talking about Avis right now because I'm not going to have very nice things to say about some of these places, and this is one of them. I get on the Avis shuttle. It's pretty packed. Takes us to the Avis place. We get to the Avis rental car agency, and there's already a line of 30 people deep. The line is not moving, and there's another 20 people behind me in this line. And I'm like, I don't have time. I cannot wait in this line to get a car. So I take my luggage, I'm hand-holding this thing, and I'm walking around. And you can see every single one of these rental car places. But the problem is, the way Philadelphia does this, to prevent you from being able to go to other places, it's all chain-linked fences, and it's all barbed wire. You can't literally walk across the lot to get to a different rental car place. They don't want you to do that. So I'm like, okay, let me check. I know where it is. I can see Enterprise is right there. I'm a big customer of theirs. I go to my Uber. It's going to cost me $112 to take me 0.6 miles. $112 to take me from where I'm at in this parking lot, 0.6 miles, less, almost half a mile. So what I do, I grab the luggage. I'm like, fuck that. I exit out the rental car lot like you would with a car. You know that place on the floor of on the asphalt where like It's like spikes that you're not supposed to be able to go back. I walked over that. There's a police officer with his lights looking at me, didn't say anything about me. I heard people behind me going, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's crazy. Like he's just, and I'm walking on the street. There is no sidewalk here. Cars are blasting me by. I'm like, I have to make this work. I have to make this work. And I'm looking, I'm trying to find the opening and get to Enterprise. I finally find Enterprise. I get in. I walk. There's maybe 12 people in this line. Okay, I can do this. And I notice behind me, maybe 10 people followed me. They're like, oh shit, he might have had the right idea. Like, let's follow him. Like they didn't think it was, so I'm sitting in this line for 12. Now, John and Daniel, I need to be prepared for this part because everything I've told you so far has been 100% true. This will be true as well, but you will think this is not true. And I'm guaranteeing you it is. I go to the Enterprise lot. We slowly get through each person. This is like 1:30, 1:40 in the morning. They're 24/7. That's what their website says. They're 24/7. It's an airport. I get there. This guy, I won't name his name because I don't want to be mean, says, reservation? I say, oh, actually, no. And I pull out my driver's license and my credit card right away. I'm like, I don't have anything, but can you just give me a car? Whatever car you got, I need to get out of here as quickly as possible. I'm a return customer. I've gone through Enterprise. I think my log has like over 180 different times I've rented through Enterprise. Like I'm a good customer. I'm a preferred member. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, we're closed.
No fucking way. No fucking way.
I'm closed. That's what he says. And I look behind me and I see there's a bunch of people. It's now like 30 people deep now because I guess they came from the Avis lot coming to follow me. What I should have done, John and Daniel, is said, do you mind telling those people that it's closed? Because they're in line thinking you're open.
Yeah, I'd have turned around and just said, sorry, everyone.
God.
He says they're closed. So
I was at a breaking point. I was about to be really mean. But instead I'm like, you're 24/7. Oh, no, we're only open now for reservations. Okay, I would like to make a reservation. I'd like to book it. I'd like to get the car. I can't do that. He says, come back in the morning. I cannot. I literally need to be in 4 hours. I need to be somewhere, and it's a 2.5 hour drive. We are wasting time. I need to be here. You know what he says? I don't like to be a boomer about technology, but this made me like real boomery about this. He says, well, if you make a reservation online, we'll be forced to honor it. So I whip out my fucking phone and I start popping in the dates and I put in my fucking preferred ID number and all my account information and I'm starting to book it. And he moves on to other people. He moves on to help other people. I get it booked. It's ready to go. And I wait. And it takes 15 minutes for him to come back to me because he keeps ignoring me at a certain point. He keeps like helping other people. And I'm like, hey, hey, I've got a reservation. I'm pointing at my phone. I've got it. And you know what he says? No lie. Oh, you got a reservation. Okay. Just like that. Like he's disappointed. Like he wanted me to just come back in the morning. Like, no, I have no other option. I have to get this car.
You know he was hoping when you heard like, oh, you've got to do it online, if that you'd just be like, not worth it, and walk away. I know this isn't an ideal situation, but I love that moment for you of just being like, no, I called your bluff. I actually did it. Come and help me. Like,
so he gets it set up, takes him 2 seconds, of course. He walks me off the lot. He shows me, you can just take this Mitsubishi car right here. And by the way, it's a piece of shit Mitsubishi. It's one of those Mitsubishis that looks fancy on the outside, but you come in and like it's crusted, things are falling apart. The navigational dash doesn't work, so I wouldn't have a GPS on my way out. And also, it had only USB-A chargers. Now, this might seem like a first world problem, but I've been traveling a lot in my entire life. No rental car I've ever had in the past 3 years has USB-A anymore. It's all USB-C. So I've only been bringing USB-C cables. I didn't have a USB-A cable.
Yeah.
And my phone has 30% battery left. And I thought about going back and going, this car is a piece of shit. Get me a better one. But I'm like, I don't want to deal with this guy ever again.
It's terrible.
This is my big mistake. I was really kind of putting my life at danger a little bit because this car was very rickety. But I grabbed my phone and it's in my hand like this and it's on the driver. So I'm like looking at it while I'm driving. It's kind of a hazard. I'm basically driving one-handed the entire time, all 2.5 hours drive to New York. And I make it. I get there at 4:45 in the morning. If I'm lucky, I can get about 45 minutes of shut-eye if I'm real quick. I drop the car off to the hotel. The hotel is across the street from where I need to be, so I can walk there. And I'm going to name this person because she was fantastic. I come in. Her name is Elena. Says, hey, I'm checking in for my room. I know that how this typically works in the hotel business is if you don't check in by midnight, the system automatically clears you out. So I know I didn't get a chance to call in. I am so sorry, but the way my day has been, I didn't even know it was going to happen. Can I just have a room? I just need like 2 hours, just 2 hours, just a bed, a shower. That's it. She finds me a room. She's very nice. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to get you the cheaper rate because, today's a cheaper day. I'm like, I don't care. Whatever. I just need a room. Just give me a room. She's very nice. And she's like, since you got in so late, let me give you extended checkout if you'd like 1 o'clock. I'm like, that's so sweet of you, but that's not going to help me. I need to literally be out the door here by about 6:30. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm teaching an engagement across the street. I'm doing a whole thing. I just need a bed, a clean shower, and that's it. And you could just feel the pain in her face that I was experiencing. And at this point, I'm shaking. I'm wrought. I have barely anything left to give. And she says, there's a kitchen right across. Anything you want, all of it, grab it on me. Okay. You got it. Anything you want. I don't grab much, but I grab a couple Diet Cokes, which are like $8 a piece. Cause of course it's a fucking hotel, but she gives it to me.
Right.
I come in, I get set up. I do whatever. Get my stuff ready. I'm like, oh, what I do typically is just so you know, John and Daniel, because you don't want things to fail. I usually have 3 alarms set when I have to wake up because you don't want one alarm to fail. So I set up 3 alarms. And just to be safe, I'm like, let me also call room service and have them have a wake up call for me. I get Alina again. I say, hey, Alina, I'm really sorry. Can I set up a wake up call? Don't worry, Mr. Kirk. I've already taken care of it. You get some sleep, my friend. And I got a little bit of just a tiny bit of night rest eye. I get the wake up call. I get my alarms to go off. I wake up. And you know that time when you sleep a little bit and you're actually feeling worse than you did before? It's that. On top of that, I have the shakes. Like I'm literally shaking. My body is like just absolutely shaking. I take a quick shower. It's hot. It refreshes me a little bit. My eyes are totally bloodshot. I barely have any energy left. I get myself ready. I check to make sure that the podcast got published. Hopefully, I think it did at that point. No, it had done. It had done before, the day before. I get myself ready. I come out. Elena's still there because it's only been a couple hours. Says, oh, Mr. Kirk, did you get any sleep? I'm like, just enough. Just enough. And my car was parked outside because she didn't know I was walking across the street. We've got your car ready for you, sir. I'm so sorry to do this. Oh, Elena, I am so sorry. Can I keep the car here? Because I just have to walk across the street and I'll come pick it up around 3, 4 o'clock. Says, absolutely, Mr. Kirk. Don't worry. We'll take care of it for you. I walk across the street. I go to the business. People have been waiting for me. I'm not late, but people had been like ready and waiting. People had driven 3 hours to be at this location. They've been waiting for me. I have a name for myself. You'll have heard about this guy, Sam Kirk. He's like one of the best, whatever. And the client who I meet is like, oh, Sam, so good to see you. So great. Did you get a good night's rest? Now, John and Daniel, I hope you know this about me, but I literally can't lie. I really can't do it. But it's also in bad taste for me to complain about my day at this point. So I just simply pause and I go, I'm ready for today. That's all I say. And we get through it. We get through both sessions. Super lightning fast. We power through. We get through them all. It's lightning fast. It's energetic. It's exciting. People are laughing. People are saying it's one of the best sessions they've ever had, etc. I don't say that to gloat, but just that's what their reactions were. I don't let the client know what happened until about the lunchtime period, because at this point in time, I am so tired, John and Daniel, that I'm like, I don't know if I can drive home. I think I need to get someone to pick up the Enterprise and tow that away, take that to Enterprise, and I need to get a taxi. And so I ask the client, like, do you have like a long distance taxi that you'd recommend that I can pull up? I don't care how much it is, $800. I don't care. I might not be able to make it. And he's like, oh my gosh. Like, I tell him a little bit about how it happens. He says, don't worry. We'll foot the bill for you. We'll take care of it. You do what you got to do. I'm like, oh, thank you. We wrap up the second class and I've got a little bit of energy left and I feel pretty good. I can drive. I debrief with the person. We have a good conversation. And I get in my car, my rickety, crappy car, Which, by the way, the Philadelphia agent told me I have to drop off in Philadelphia by noon the next day. I'm not doing that. I'm going to drop it to my local enterprise and be done with it. I get home. Maybe 2 minutes after I get home, my wife comes home with groceries. I help her out, and then I just completely conk out and I pass out. I wake up the next day and I get a bunch of emails saying, Sam, you saved the day. They said it was the best thing ever. Super grateful, all that good stuff. I'm not sharing this story to kind of say how great I am. In fact, I'm not that kind of person. I'm sharing the story because this was truly a 0 dot experience. And I want to share what I think was the only way I got through this experience. Because let me tell you, man, I was at a breaking point. I was disheveled. I was destroyed. The only thing that got me through this, John and Daniel, was a couple of people's empathy. My boss's empathy, that Hampton Inn employee, Alina at Teaneck, New Jersey, who gave me empathy, and my wife. And my boss and my wife in particular, who gave me permission to say, you do not have to do this. And I made the choice that I wanted to do it because I knew people were counting on me to be there. That's the only way I got through it. And there's one other thing, but I'll talk about that later. And I'm proud of that, and I'm grateful that I did it. I don't know that I can ever do it again. I've had a couple scares like this before, but this was one of the more intense ones. And I just want to point that out to our listeners and our viewers, what the power is in empathy and what the power is in connecting with people and seeing people. Because I'd had experiences, as I detailed with everyone, that enterprise agent can go F himself because I'm like, come on, man, like I just need a car. You're making this harder for me. Just giving people empathy gives you strength you didn't realize you had.
Man, that's powerful. I am fucking amazed that you are alive. That's crazy as fuck. I notoriously have thought that the MSP airport, not too bad of an airport, but that is about as bad as it gets, man. That's every single thing. At some point, this story, as a person who's talking to you today knows that you, in fact, do make it out of it, like becomes comical because it's like this cannot keep getting worse. Like I've had a pretty fucked up week myself, but honestly, you just blew out of the water. It's not, holy cow, that's fucking bananas. And I'm glad to hear that the empathy, like, I literally can never talk about it enough. Like, it is one of the most healing things you can have as a human. Like, just having other people care about you and see you and get you, it gives you the artsy way of saying it, the floofy way of saying it, it's like it gives you like an inner strength. The animal way of saying it is it kind of like it prevents your give up thing from going off. Like that's really good, man. I'm glad you had that help, but also I'm so sorry. What a fucking ride.
I'm grateful it happened. But yeah, the empathy is huge again, because at a certain point, it's just like, we talked about this before, my big principle and so what? Like, okay, you're going to do this. You're going to be miserable. You'll be frazzled and you'll have no sleep. You can still do it though, right? So what? Go do it. Even though I had every out to not do it, which would have been a fair out. I could have been like, you know what? I can't do it. I couldn't within myself tell myself it's okay. I'm like, no, there are people. Yes, I had to travel far, but they're traveling far. They've heard about me. They've been waiting months to see me. And now imagine them having their plans get canceled. That's unfair to them. The other thing I want to talk about, which is the opposite side of the mental health aspect, the empathy side. And I just call this out because it's true. I've been focusing on my physical health for about 7-8 years now. And I can tell you that if I hadn't been so focused on my strength training and my endurance and my cardio, I would have absolutely collapsed and physically been unable to do this. Like I would have literally just passed out and couldn't have done it. The fact that I was in pretty reasonably good shape allowed me to get through this piece of it. And to that, I'm grateful, which again speaks to the fact of like doing something now to help your future self out, even if you're not sure about it. Like all those times I did that last set, I didn't want to do it. I'm like, I don't want to do this last set, but you just did it anyway. But this was what it amounted to. And I tell my trainer this all the time. My trainer, he knows my goal is to be capable. My goal is not to be looking good in the mirror. That's a nice side effect. My goal is being capable. And this was, in one way, it was like a proud moment of myself going, I was capable. I did the thing. That's good.
I'm glad to hear it. It feels good to be able to reflect on that. Like one of the feelings that I really recommend people practice, like getting in touch with, is gratitude for your past self, because psychologically it's just a fucking home run. Like it helps your brain feel much better about things that otherwise would be very painful at times. So I'm really glad to hear you tap into that. I also just man, I just know how fucking important physical health is as a person who's been in various states of physical health over the past 7 years. From like couldn't stand through a shower to like closing in on my maxes again. Like you just feel more able to contend psychologically with the shit that you're dealing with. Makes a huge fucking difference. So I'm really glad to see that.
And if I could wrap up this story, because I don't like stories being all about me, but I want to make sure we walk away with something. I was grateful for the fact that I understood the gift of empathy, and I lived in that moment. But when folks were not giving me empathy, I was very quick to discard them. Like, you are of no use to me. You're not giving me empathy. Let's move on and move the conversation. And John, I think you and I both have experience in our professions and otherwise. We get hung up on the wrong people. We get hung up on those people who aren't giving us empathy, and we're looking for them to give us something, and they're not. And we keep spiraling, and it becomes this not a great situation. And I'm grateful for the fact that I know that lesson early on from past experiences. Because again, if I'd gotten hung up on some of these things, it would have really made me go, well, it would have made me give up. But I knew not to give up. And so I give everyone permission right now as they hear about the story. Put your spoons where they give the energy back to you. You know, in the world of nutrition, I say, learn to love the food that loves you back. In the exercise, learn to love the exercises that love you back. In your people, learn to love the people that love you back.
Very well put. I wish I had something, to add to that, but I do think that really does kind of sum it up.
I think
Involving yourself with the things that serve you and that help you be the best you, unarguable.
I think you did something that I really like, and I think really speaks to the whole try and focus on the things that are giving back to you. Don't get caught up on the negatives. Don't get caught up in the people that aren't going to give you the empathy, anything like that, it was part of the story, so you had to touch on it. This fine gentleman, shall we call him, who made you go through the whole rigmarole of the reservation, and he was butting heads with you and meeting you with resistance. And you very kindly said, I'm not going to name this person, and I'm not going to focus in on it, and I'm not going to dwell on it. It's relevant to the story, but you didn't give him a name, you didn't give him a focus. Instead, the person that you did name, that you did choose to focus on and let everybody know about and praise, was the lovely employee at the hotel. And I think that's really, really important. And I love that you did that. Very, very nice. Yeah.
Daniel, you might like this then, because I forgot about this part. When everything was done, I was done the engagement, I walked across the street back to the hotel. And I knew Alina would not be there because it was, gosh, it's been like, it's 16 hours at this point. She's on a different shift. Yeah. I'm like, hi, I need to pick up my car, but real quick, is there a supervisor on duty? I want to give a compliment to about your staff members. Oh, yes, I'm supervisor. She came in, and I'll be honest, I told you who her name is now, but I didn't know her name at the time. That's how brain fried I was. I'm like, there was a lady, and I described her features. She was on during this shift, during this time. Oh, that's Alina. I'm like, oh, let me tell you how incredible she was, because I will never forget Alina. I will never forget the kindness she had. And she said to me, I'm so thrilled. We take such pride in that. And she gave me this little card and says, you don't have to, but all staff members here make a commission if you drop a nice review on their TripAdvisor. And I did. I went TripAdvisor quick. I said, Alina, my guardian angel, which is not verbiage I use very often, but was very grateful for that. And I hope she gets that commission. And I hope she knows she made my day. She made me get through that. That was huge.
She sounds thoroughly deserving of it. So I'm glad too. And it is just like, this isn't a secret to anybody who works in any industry, but like when people recognize you externally, that is one of the most powerful things you can have. Like it just makes a huge fucking difference. So.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Alina. This one's for you.
Shout out to Alina. Yeah.
Yeah. What a legend. What an absolute legend. And you as well, Sam, for getting through that.
Yeah, very impressive.
Horrific.
For not dying. What a fucking journey, dude. Holy shit.
A series of unfortunate events. Yeah.
Heinous.
It worked out because I slept 15 hours Thursday night.
Yeah, Friday. I bet.
And then we had to reschedule our session to Sunday. I slept another 15 hours on Saturday. Like I just slept. I was like, felt good. Yeah, it was so bad because I was so tired the one night at La Quinta Inn that I'm like, I might need to tell Daniel that I can't publish it until later. But I'm like, no, our people need this. We made a promise. And I'm just soldiering through, finger pecking. Get this done. Describe the description. Make the keywords work. I'll deal with the Spotify crap later because Spotify does this thing where they don't let you upload the video until after the audio is published. And
Yeah. Just another fun quirk that we found of setting all of this up. Yeah, I'm grateful to you for getting all that done while also contending with everything else. Yeah, I do appreciate it very much. So I appreciate you both.
Thank you
very much.
I don't know, man. I really want to lift up the homie. I feel like Sam had a really good story today to share. But I know Sam is a very, he does not want to do any self-aggrandizing, so I'll do it for him. What a fucking trooper, dude. What a fucking stud. That is not a thing everyone could have done. And I feel like it is, as a person who had his own week that was just garbage and did not have that perseverance, there it is. Just, I don't know. It's really impressive. And not in a yay, you, boo me, just way to go, fellow human. Way to do the thing, man.
Yeah, never yay this thing and boo this other thing. You don't have to tear other things down to lift other things up. You can just lift the thing up. It doesn't whether the other thing is yourself or something
100%.
else. It's
Thank you, John.
Something.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, sure.
And I want to be clear, if anyone hears this story and thinks that the message is, oh, just persevere, not necessarily. If I had the spoons to do what I did, if I had reached a point where I literally couldn't, I would have made that different decision. It's just more like I had the physical spoons, I was stretched to my limit, and I made the decision to do it.
And to clarify further, when he says he had the physical spoons, he means he had a case full of spoons.
Yeah, he did.
To,
yeah,
barter
it was part of my
with.
luggage. That's why it costs
It was
so much for check-in. Yeah,
exactly.
Yes.
Can you imagine
Slightly
carrying an
unreasonable,
entire bag
honestly.
full of spoons just clanging about?
So much trouble at TSA because of all those spoons. Just sets off the
TSA
metal
on strike.
detectors. It's terrible.
Because of you specifically.
Because of
They're like,
you
"Fuck this."
specifically. Oh, here comes Spoon Man Sam again.
Here he
Fuck.
comes.
Yeah. I would like to take a quick moment to shout out our Patreon members who pay us a little bit of money every month and are super special because of that. We have Robert Restant, we have David Rivera. You are new. Thank you for signing up. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. William Kirk, JP, Aid, and God of Grunts. If you would like to be in their esteemed company and you would like to help us out, help us to create more things for you, maybe pay us a little bit of money every month, we'd really appreciate it. If not, no worries. We will still get the most important things to you, regardless. Thanks.
All right. Before we wrap up today's episode, for those of you that don't know, you can submit your questions to us at questions@thezero.podcast.com or go to the zero.podcast.com website and submit your questions there. We're always keen to hear what you have for us. We love to talk about them and make them the subject of many of our main episodes if you would like. And we got a submitted user question just a little bit ago. And this question comes from an anonymous user. And the question is, what if I don't want to be in control? And for those that are listening in right now, we've talked quite a bit about taking control back in our lives for things that are taking control away from us, making sure we focus on intrinsic value and intrinsic purposes versus extrinsic. But this question asks, what if I don't want to be in control? And John, I'd love to hear, I'd love to pay you a penny for your thoughts on that one.
Keep your penny, my friend. I have many a thought, and I don't come that cheaply.
Okay.
First off, I'd say thank you to the person who submitted the question. And it's a really good question. So there's a thing with humans and control, and that we need a degree of it, and too much of it becomes problematic. There's a perfect little window where you want to have the right amount. So for instance, I want to be able to go somewhere of my own volition today. I want to be able to choose what I eat or something like that. I want to be able to feel safe and do things that make me feel rewarded. There's a thing for people who feel like they have too much responsibility. Fun fact, one of the first, sidebar, whenever I say fun fact, it's not about to be fun. But one of...
I can verify this, listeners. Yes.
One of the first existential crises you have as a person is when you are becoming an adult and you get the okay, so you're 18-ish, you're not going to school, maybe you just graduated from college, whatever else. And you're like, okay, now I'm going to do anything I want forever, and you have too much. Like there's too many choices. Some people are parents, some people are leaders in businesses, some people are leaders in local communities, and there's just this piece of everyone turning to you and saying, "Hey, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?" I am a dungeon master. I play Dungeons and Dragons, and while I love doing that, it's a fun little creative social hobby. It is people every week expecting you to be creative, have a thing set up, run the game, etc. I'm what's called a secondary leader. So if no one's set up to be a leader, then I'm the leader. And I'm a person who has this too much control thing all the time. I don't want to have this control. So first off, I would say completely valid, totally understandable. What I would talk about is paring that back a little bit. So two things within two things. A thing that I think is both, I don't know, dear viewer / listener, I hope this hits you well. We don't actually have control of anything. So finding ways to help your brain say, okay, what do I have to control? And then what can I let go of is a big part of this. At the end of the day, I'm in the market for a car because a while ago I bought a car, Kia Soul 2014 edition.
Is Kia Soul an actual car? I thought it was a lemon.
It's very lemon coated. It does leave a sour taste in my mouth. I got it repaired, and then a whopping 3 days later, I had to get it repaired again because it died on the road, on the highway. So it's been, my week not as fun as yours, Sam, but pretty fun. I should stop using fun sarcastically, but I can't. It's so fun, ? But my point being, like, I don't want to get screwed. And maybe you looked at me and you were like, that guy is a car guy. He knows so much about cars, which is just a fucking silly choice of you. No, I'm not a car guy at all. And I could get screwed by a mechanic and they could say, well, you need this thing with the boopometer. And I'd go, okay, well, how much is that? He's like $50,000. I'm like, okay, sign me up. I don't know what I'm doing. But if I try really, really hard to exert total control on this, I'm going to drive myself nuts and be fucking 8% more prepared. It doesn't really pay off the attempting to control ratio. So letting go of some of that control there can be really helpful of saying, like, well, here's what the system that I recommend is, what is your value? What is the action your value tells you to do? So for me, my value would be like on freedom in this particular case. And it would say, you need to just get a car, man. Like, you just got to do something. Sometimes with control, and this is one that I want to speak to, dear viewer / listener. I don't know if this is your thing or not, but feel free to send in more and specify because we genuinely do want to help. But if your thing is control of people, such a common frequent flyer on my caseload professionally is people who come in who are like, I have this pain because I have to make sure my kid is okay, my spouse is okay, whatever else. And there's this, like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's too much work. Letting go of that's really healthy. So I'm going to give you a little pocket move. I brought this up on the show before, but it's so good for this. It's called cognitive diffusion. Diffusion takes two things and unfuses them. It's not diffusion. So you have a thought and you have a feeling. They show up together, they lock in, and the feeling makes the thought feel really true. So for instance, you wake up, you're dog tired, you have a long day ahead of you, you think, I can't fucking do this. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough, whatever. And you go, whoop, 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 whoop. I'm noticing that I'm having a thought that I'm not good enough. And I'm feeling that way. And it kind of blends this false legitimacy. In this case, we're going to use it to say, I'm noticing that I'm having a thought that I have to control this. And I'm going to let it go a little bit. So final thing, and then I'm going to shut up for a second, let Sam respond. The question, I believe the prompt was, what if I don't want to be in control? I would just speak directly to that. That's okay. That's okay. I think there's this pressure on us to, like, pursue control. And I don't know, it kind of parallels the pressure of pursuing having more things and being bigger and better and stronger and faster. There's actually a very healthy thing where people can say, I'm good. Like, I don't need any more. And if you don't want to be in control because you're feeling burned out, that's answer A. I've been kind of speaking to that, first part. But the second part is, if you don't want to be in control, I just want to validate, like, that is totally appropriate. Humanity is a team sport, and having different people who can be in control at different times makes a really big difference. Giving people, like, the opportunity to let things be in control. So, like, I feel a little retroactive guilt here because I didn't realize what kind of shit Sam was going through. And like I said, having a pretty tough week myself. And I was just struggling to get myself into this chair. And I turned over to Sam and Daniel on Friday to talk about scheduling this show. And I said, you guys, I don't know that I can do this. I can try for, like, Sunday early. Spoiler alert, that's when we recorded this. Shout out to Daniel for editing it late. But giving up that control felt, like, weird at first because I want to come through with the things I say I can control, but I couldn't. And letting other people drive the boat was really, really helpful for me. So if you're looking for a voice to just say it's okay, and then I would be happy to be one of those voices. You definitely don't have to be in control. It's certainly not a personality thing or thing to feel shame about. I feel like all the, like go conquer the world, young man kind of shit has really got into our heads about what we're supposed to do. And so far as pursuing that control, that's not even within that, right? So I serve a lot of people as a therapist, including people who are like just super powerful people with lots of money and responsibility and shit. And one thing that they often tell me is they're like, all day long, I work so hard to keep all these gears turning. When the weekend comes and my phone rings, I just don't want to do it. And there's a piece there about boundaries and not having control. One of the things that I think is super helpful for anybody with any level of neurodivergence, but also frankly just people in general, is having structured, unstructured time. You just book time to not be in control. You just book time to not do anything and just kind of let yourself coast a little bit. It can do wonders. And it's so different than the reactionary version of it, which is like, I don't want to do stuff. I'm calling out today, which is not the same experience. That can end up being sort of not always healthy. Whereas planning it ahead of time, like, taking the classic mental health day, if you will, like that's actually very valid. So I hope some of that spoke to what you were looking for. And once again, thank you for the question. If you have any further follow-ups, I'd love to hear them. Other than that, I'd pass it back to Sam for any thoughts you may have.
Yeah, I think I agree with all of it. Yeah, it's totally okay to not want to be in control. It's totally fine if that works for you. I will offer one cautionary tale to be mindful of if we make the decision of, hey, I don't want to have any control over anything. Because I agree with John. We don't really have control over anything. Not really. We can influence a few things here and there, but even then, there's a very compelling argument that we don't have free will. Although we have to believe we have free will to keep moving on and all that stuff. Neil deGrasse Tyson, all that good stuff. But I would caution us on one thing. If you make the decision that, hey, I don't want to be in control, and so I'm going to let go of control completely, you now are falling down one path, and one path which begets that all the external factors in your life rules your life. Whatever happens in front of me, that's the reality that I face, which can be incredibly meditative. It can be incredibly wholesome, except in some cases, I'd say about 50% of cases, you've reached a place in your life where you become incredibly frustrated and you don't know why. Because what happened is years ago, you made this choice. I'm just going to let the world dictate where I go. If I can't get this job, that's the job that I get. If I can't keep this friend, that's the friendship that I get. The world, I get whatever the world gives me. But then at some point, the frustration might build. And that's because we didn't give ourselves the opportunity to go, okay, you made the choice to let go of control. But if you'd taken the reins just a little bit, you might have been able to guide it in a different way, and you might be more satisfied with that. I say this to you in that way. I would hate for any person on this planet to be frustrated with their life and feel like they had no control over it. I'd be really upset for anyone. I'd be heartbroken for people that are miserable and unhappy because they're living a life they didn't choose to live for themselves. However, it's a totally different misery to have when you've made the decision to live the life the way you wanted to. And if things aren't going your way, that's one thing, but at least you're doing it your way. I was very fortunate in my young career to make that decision. And it was a decision. I had to do a hard pivot. I've had some successes. I've had some losses. But when I've had some losses, it's been like, well, at least it's on my terms. This sucks right now, but at least it's on my terms. Whereas before, when I had some losses and I made the choice that the universe just gives me whatever it gives me, I was even doubly frustrated and really angry and not happy. So everything John said is absolutely correct, but I would just caution that when you make that choice, which is totally valid, you can always take a course correction elsewhere, start reining in a little bit, making a couple of decisions that require some uncomfortable conversations and get you on that different path if you so choose.
I would kind of bounce off that, what Sam is saying. There's a concept called the locus of control, or if you're fancy in plural, it can be the loci of control. And there's really just the two. You either have an internal or an external locus of control. And what Sam is advocating for, and I'm putting words in his mouth, which is rude of me, but I'm doing it. So if I'm wrong, maybe he'll say something, but I don't think I am, is the internal locus of control sort of, gives you the old Invictus, like I am the captain of my fate, I am the master of my soul. I kind of choose what happens to me. I'm in charge of my life. Turns out really, really healthy to have an internal locus of control. Because even though, the winds of fate do buffet us around, there's a level of just like, you got to believe in yourself. It's a form of self-efficacy to think that you can have an impact. Sidebar, this correlates incredibly strongly with depression. If you do have depression, you have the opposite, which is an external locus of control. And your brain's like, I don't really have any fucking influence. I just kind of like get rolled over and shit happens to me and shit sucks. And I think I really wanted to kind of validate what Sam was saying. That is a very painful and risky thing to have. No one should feel bad if they feel that way. That's completely understandable for a lot of people because the world will just friggin' kick you in the teeth, he said, with his car in the shop for the third time in a month. But like, at the same time, the reason that car got back to a shop instead of sitting in a lot is because I have good friends and because I did a thing, right? I'm not a hero on that, but I'm glad I did something because I was beginning to give up. I was beginning to feel very powerless. Real quick thing though, just in case this lands with one of our listeners / viewers, there is a thing that is an overly problematic internal locus of control. So like I'll have these people who I work with, and I'm thinking of a specific woman in general right now who I just fucking adore. She's so great. She's a super like high-powered go-getter, does a lot of like wonderful work, in charge of a zillion people. And then she came to see me because her family stuff was hard. Because she was like, why are these kids this way? Like, what am I doing? And she's so kind. But she's taking responsibility for all of the things in her life, and she has to make sure everyone's okay. And that is also a trap. Because for anyone who's raised a kid, I haven't, but I've worked with a zillion parents, and I was a child once. You can be the best parent in the world. You can give that kid perfect information and give them the perfect opportunities. They're still going to do some weird shit. It's not your fault. That's okay. So finding that balance between internal and external, though I would say favoring internal, is a really, really important thing. And once again, I really am grateful for the question. This is like a fun segment. I don't know if you can tell, but like I like doing this kind of thing. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that write-in. We appreciate it. Spurs some good conversation. Hopefully that helps out if you tuned in.
Also, if it doesn't, and you're like, that's not what I meant at all, you idiots, let me know. Because I would love to
write
do
it
a better
again.
job.
Say, actually,
Yes.
you guys were totally off.
You stupid men.
Way off base. Not what I meant.
Let me know.
Just to remind everyone, if you are one of our lovely patrons, then you do get priority when asking questions. We will get to you first. And if you want to, you can stick questions in the YouTube comments as well. Doesn't have to be through the form. We will find them wherever you put them.
I got to be real with you. If you put it anywhere, we might not find it. If you just like tuck it under your pillow and like a note, Daniel will do an inspection of everybody's pillows he can get to. But like, there's billions of people.
I do check the closets. I check that area.
Yeah.
But your pillow, now, man, I don't.
It does feel like a lot to ask, frankly. Just saying, you know.
I mean, I'm looking for teeth,
chance.
honestly, so I can sell on the black market. I'm not looking for questions. So if there's a question, I'll be like,
Teeth. Tooth fairy. Got it. For a moment, I just forgot that was a thing, and I was like, what the fuck? But no, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah.
Why does he have the teeth?
I mean, why not? But, you know, teeth, great resource to just harvest in case of the apocalypse. You never know what'll be the
seriously, it's
material.
I was going to say, densest thing in our body. It's harder than bone.
Yeah, they could be the new currency. You know, all these people who are fans of the Fallout franchise hoarding bottle caps. Turns out it's teeth.
Turns out it's teeth. And since John talked about a couple of episodes ago that they're starting research to regrow teeth. Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, just because I'm a big giant nerd in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, teeth are in fact currency for orcs. That's canonically true. So carry on.
Good to know.
We got there. We will always find a way to come back to 40k.
There's no way around it, and I'm so sorry.
Some way. We will.
Well, with that, folks, that's been our show. This is the Zero Dot Podcast. Once again, it's been my pleasure. Sam, John, and Daniel, I always love chatting with y'all. You can find us on the zerodotpodcast.com. Everywhere podcasts are available. We're also available on Instagram and not TikTok. I'm looking at you. And YouTube Shorts and YouTube all across the board. We'd love to hear from you some of your questions. Go ahead and go to our website at thezerodotpodcast.com. Submit your questions to us. John and Daniel, it's been a week, but it's always a pleasure talking with you all. I'll see you next time as we recharge, as we go into the trenches.
Likewise, my friend. Till next time.
Bid you adieu.